Speakers Audio Festival.
The fine art of balancing books with babies. My story is what my daughter likes to call one of those stories they would write a book about. My journey is a challenging one, as I faced with many obstacles whenever I tried to achieve my educational goals. Growing up as a young child from primary school and later as a teenager in high school and graduation, I always got top marks in school in all of my subjects. I am a high achiever and had dreams of becoming a doctor, specifically a pediatrician, because this profession was something I was passionate about. I've always loved being in the company of children. They are amusing, playful, honest, and innocent, so I wanted to relieve their pain and suffering and be the source of joy for them and for their families. I believed that being a pediatrician would make me the happiest person in the world, as I bring happiness to others. Yet this was not easy, because of the tradition and culture in my village. I lived in a village that was full of farmers, big green lands, and lots of wealthy men who work outside of the country while their wives stayed at home to care for the farm and for the children. In my village and in my country, it's a tradition that girls should be married by the age of 18. Otherwise, they are considered maidens and will miss the train of marriage. So I started getting proposals when I was around 15 years old, where people would come and ask my parents' permission for my hand in marriage. My father would always refuse without even letting me know, as he wanted me to continue my studies. Then, as per my family, I got what I would call a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity of a marriage proposal. It was agreed that I was to be engaged to my neighbor, and now he is my current lovely husband, whom my family knew and trusted at that time. Back then, he was not ready for this big responsibility. However, he didn't want to run the risk of losing me while he was looking for a job in another country. My parents decided that we would be married before he left, just in case I was taken by someone else. At that time, I was too young and naive to say no. Well, if I'm being honest, nobody really asked for my opinion, as my family loved him so much that they directly agreed. So here I was having no choice but to give up my dreams of becoming a doctor. I was 15 years old and was supposed to get married directly after I graduated from high school. So being engaged and committed to my studies made me see my family less and less. It even got to the point where I had to leave my family's house because it was very crowded and I should move to live with my aunt, who was living alone, and that to study for my senior year graduation exams, which was very tough and is equivalent of the Leaving Cert here in Ireland. So I took the second floor and went on with studying most of the day, taking only short breaks to eat and rarely to help with housework, as really I felt guilty for wasting my time in that. And later on, I heard from my mother that my aunt was giving out to her that I didn't help her enough with housework. But at the same time, she took me as a role model to her youngest child in the way I used to dedicate all of my time to studying. So there was a positive side of it. I finished my exams and directly began to prepare for my wedding. which I got only 2 weeks to do that. And I got my result also 2 weeks after marriage. And thankfully they were great, for not only did I get the first rank in the whole school, but I also scored the third in the whole city. So I decided to study English literature because it doesn't require much in-person attendance, and this would allow me to travel with my husband. I used to buy written lectures and books and self-study, and then go back to my country to do my exams 2 times a year. And that was tough enough. One month into my second year of university, I had my first baby. I was very happy at that time. In fact, everyone in my family was. It was a moment they were all waiting for, and of course, after 2 years of marriage. However, I also had mixed feelings. I was overwhelmed with the fact that I have to manage my studying while taking care of a house and a daughter. And soon then, precisely around 19 months later, baby number 2 arrived. So it started getting more difficult to study and take care of 2 babies at the same time. And I can still remember one incident where one day, while I was studying for my graduation exams, holding my newly born baby in one hand and my books in the other hand, and then my 2-year-old daughter, who was of course jealous of her brother, came to me and asked me as usual to play with her. But I was very overwhelmed at that time, and I was forced to tell her that, "Sorry, my love, I'm very busy right now. Can we please do it later?" And I still can see her tears running out of her eyes, quietly and without making any sound. She left the room, went to her grandmother, and didn't speak to me for 2 days. I felt heartbroken at that time, but I had to go on. Nevertheless, I didn't fail any subject, and I worked hard to balance between both, and thankfully I graduated in time. And by achieving this, I proudly broke the stigma surrounding people who knew me, where a woman can't continue her studies if she got married, as she had to stay home and take care of her family. And after that, many of my friends and female family members followed my lead with the support of their husbands, as they saw it was in fact possible to go to college even after getting married. Because their husbands found it's very important to have an educated wife who can help with their children's education journey and will be able to secure a job to support a family financially, the way I did. Surprise number 3 arrived a few years after graduation, while I was working in an insurance company to get an experience. At that time, my husband asked me to give up my job in order to mind my small baby and other 2 kids. But I decided not to do that, and I did my best to prove to him that I can manage and make a balance between both work and kids. And again, it was successful. Now, 11 years on from when I reached Ireland, I got a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to continue my studies, where I'd love to do so. And that was through a dear friend who helped me to apply for a course. And the surprise came that the moment I applied and had my application accepted, I found out that I am carrying my 4th baby. Again, it was a very tough year. Being pregnant, having a big family, and many assignments to finish. But luckily, I did very well again and got very high scores throughout the first year. Now I delivered my cute baby boy, and I still have another year to graduate. But I know I will be able to manage with the help of my nearing adulthood children, and my husband. I can say that part of my dream has come true. Even though I'm not a pediatrician, but I am continuing with my learning journey. And I'm surrounded by my own children, and to be honest, raising them soundly had made me the happiest human being in the world. Now I came to the conclusion that it's my destiny to face educational challenges whenever I decided to achieve any goal of my life. And my journey with education will always be accompanied by babies. Now I wonder, if I ever decide to do a master's degree later on, how many more children will I have by then?
The Sound Seekers Audio Festival is funded by the Broadcasting Authority of Ireland using the television licence fee, in partnership with the Irish Research Council. For further details, go to thesoundseekers.com.